Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about the classification of material usage variance. So you can see from here, the material usage variance is classified into material mix variance, material yield variance or material sub-usage variance. So first of all, let me talk about the material mix variance. So in the case of material mix variance, it arises only when more than one type of material is used for producing the finished product. And the calculation of material mix variance is used by this following formula, that is the revised standard quantity minus the actual quantity into the standard price, and where the revised standard quantity is calculated by this formula, that is standard quantity of one material divided by the total standard quantities of all materials into the total of actual quantities of all materials. So now let us look at this example. It says from the following information, calculate material mix variance, material price variance, and material usage variance. So you can see here there are two types of raw material, that is X and Y. So the standard quantity of X is 40 units, the standard quantity of Y is 60 units, and the standard price for X it is 50 per unit, and the standard price for Y it is rupees 40 per unit, and the actual quantity for X it is 50 units, for Y it is 60 units, and the actual price for X is rupees 50 per unit and rupees 45 per unit. So the total standard material is 100 units, the total actual material is 110 units. So first of all, let us look at the material mix variance. So according to the formula, the material mix variance is revised standard quantity minus actual quantity into standard price. So first of all, we have to find out the revised standard quantity. So the revised standard quantity of X will be the standard quantity of X itself divided by the total standard quantity, that is 100 units, then into the total actual quantity, that is 110 units. So the revised standard quantity of X will be 44 units. Now the revised standard quantity of Y will be the standard quantity of Y itself divided by the total standard quantity, that is 100 units, then into the actual standard quantity, that is in total it's 110. So we'll get here 66 units. So the material mix variance for X will be 44 revised standard quantity minus the actual quantity 50 units, then into the standard price of rupees 50 per unit. So now after calculating, we get here 300 at the reverse since it is a minus sign. Now if you look at material Y, the revised standard quantity is 66, the actual quantity is 60, and the standard price is rupees 40. So after calculating, you'll get rupees 240 favorable since it is a plus sign. So in total, the material mix variance will be 60 at reverse since the minus sign is greater than the plus sign. Now if you look at the material price variance, so the formula is standard price minus actual price into the actual quantity. So the standard price for X is 50, the actual price for X also is 50, and the actual quantity is 50. So we'll get here nil. Then for material Y, the standard price is 40, the actual price is 45, and the actual quantity is 60. So we'll get here 300 adverse since it is a minus sign. Now if you look at the next one, that is the material usage variance. So it is calculated by this formula, that is standard quantity minus actual quantity into standard price. So the standard quantity is 40, the actual quantity is 50, and the standard price is rupees 50. So get here rupees 500 adverse since the minus sign is greater. Then for material Y, the standard quantity is 60, the actual quantity is 60, and the standard price is 40. So we'll get here nil. So in total, the material usage variance will be rupees 500 adverse. Now let us look at the second component of the material usage variance, that is the material yield variance or the material sub-usage variance. Remember, this variance measures the abnormal loss or savings of material, and this type of variance is important in case of process industry where certain percentage of loss of material is unavoidable. So if the actual loss of material differs from the standard loss of material, then yield variance will arise. Then yield variance is also known as the scrap variance. Then the loss may result in the following two situations. Remember this, you have to keep in mind. So the first thing is that when the standard mix and actual mix do not differ, for example, the total standard mix is 100 and the total actual mix also is 100, and in that case you have to use this formula for material yield variance. So the formula is standard rate or the standard cost per unit, then into the actual yield minus the standard yield, where the standard rate is standard cost of standard mix divided by the net standard output. And the net standard output is calculated by the gross output minus the standard loss. Then the second situation is when the standard mix differ from the actual mix. Suppose, for example, if the standard mix is 100, then the actual mix is 110. Then you have to use this formula. Then the yield variance is calculated as follows. Then the material yield variance will be standard rate or standard cost per unit into the actual yield minus the revised standard yield, where the standard rate will be the standard cost of revised standard mix divided by the net standard output, and the net standard output will be the same, that will be gross output minus standard loss. So the problem on yield, material yield variance, I'll share in the next video. Thank you.